Okay. I'm going to walk you through some of the features of the NECCTON viewer, but I know that some of you have played with this already, so feel free to follow along. It might be a bit fast, but yeah, we just wanted to present some stuff. So the first thing that I'm going to introduce is the catalog. As you can see, the different products are here, available for visualization. You can use the different filters. You can type in, if you know the specific data set that you're looking for, or filter over area, temporal resolution, and other things. This demo has been put in the framework of trying to study if there's any candidates for being marine protected areas in the Mediterranean region, thanks to a story that Olivia helped us put together. So we want to see how the data looks like at different points of the food web, to see if there's any areas in the Mediterranean that can have more ecologic value than others, and that they can have these special properties. So the first thing is that if you click here on the name, you will have some overview on the product that you want to visualize, overview, small description, the classification with some technical details for this product. You also have information about the contact people. There is a mapping between every data set and the organizations that are responsible for the data. And there is one contact person for each institute that collaborated in the data. You can also access the quality sheets that you sent just by clicking on it, and copy the DOI again by clicking on it. So if we want to start a study of the Mediterranean region, we will start with the lower traffic levels. So I'm going to add to the map this variable, the mole concentration of particulate organic matter expressed as carbon in seawater. But first, before looking at the data, I want you to take a look at the map display. You can change in latitude, longitude. You can zoom in, zoom out, go to the poles, go back. If you want to return to your original plot, you just have to click on the name, which is really useful. I'm going to show some features, but here on the eye, you have a cheat sheet of some comments that may be useful, so it's okay if you miss some things. Another thing that we see when we first look at it is that here we have the time series at the bottom. So we have the timeline, and we can very easily jump from one plot of the data, one day corresponding to one date, to the other. And we have the visualization of the whole time series for this data. If we go to settings, again, as a general thing to do with the viewer, you can change the layout of the map. There are several options. You can change the units, the language, and so on. This viewer, as you know, is publicly accessible to everyone, but if you want to do some things like download it, you will have to log in with your Siemens user. So maybe that's useful in some cases. And yeah, I think for the general part, this is it. For this data set, for example, we have depth here at the bottom, so you can also change in this dimension, which is really useful to have a complete overview. And yeah, I think this is it for the general characteristics. If we look at the data, we can see that this concentration has a really inhomogeneous distribution. So there's clearly some areas that have a much brighter color than others. If you want to see what happens at one of these super bright areas, we just have to click on one point. So now we have some graphs displayed corresponding to this particular date, latitude, and longitude. We can also make them bigger. The first graph is the variable for this particular point as a function of time. We can see that there is some peaks, some periodicity here that might indicate something. We also have plot of the variable in terms of the depth. So clearly we have something happening here at roughly minus 60 meters. You can see that you can go to this point by just clicking on it on the graph, and then the data visualization will change with what you select on the graph. And here we have the contour plot of the variable as a function of the depth and the time for this point. You can also change in time by just clicking anywhere in the first graph. So for example, if we want to see what happens here at this peak, I can just click on it, and then the data will change accordingly. You can compare these graphs for another point. So for example, we see here that there is some periodicity, which may be a function of the position in the sea, maybe not. So let's click somewhere else and see if we can compare. It's very important to put them together, so we can just drag one set of data into the other, like one plot into the other. And here we can see what the graphs look like for point A and point B. So as you can see, it looks like the periodicity is the same. The only difference is that there's different values for the maximums and minima. And yeah, you can play around, you can compare your data. You can change here from one point to another, and yeah, zoom in again in the graphs, zoom out. You can do many things. If instead of comparing 2 points, you want to see what happens at a segment in the sea, you can just click here on the section lines, and then press 1 point, press another point, and observe the plots for along this line. And you will have a plot of the variable in terms of the distance, and again, how the contour plot looks like for this line. Similarly, you can also draw a certain area. You can just click in different points, define on that you can make as weird as you want, and look how the data is in this particular area. So you have, again, the variable in terms of time, and then a histogram. So as you can see, there are some areas that look better than others for these lower trophic levels. But maybe it would be useful to go to a different point in the food web. So let's take a look now at the benthic environment. We selected this variable, the mole concentration of macrozoobenthos expressed as carbon per unit surface of bottom sediment, which, if I'm correct, this benefits from the organic matter in the column of water. So we expect some correlation, I guess, between the lower trophic levels that we saw earlier and this variable. Another feature that I want to show is that you can adjust how the map looks like to what fits your needs or eyes best. So you can change from this variety of color maps. You can invert the axis. You can also make the gradient of color more steep and change the threshold. So you can really customize the display of the data and the visualization of the data. And you can also leave the outliers out of your visualization. So you can just define a range here, and then the values that don't fit in this range will not be plotted. So as I mentioned, we want to see if there is any correlation between this variable and the previous one. So I'm going to plot the 2 layers on the map. This is really useful when we want to compare if 2 sets of data have anything to do with each other. And we can change also how this data is plotted if we want to visualize it better. So for example, if I maybe want to take a look first at the macrozoobenthos, and I'm not so interested in seeing this variable, maybe I can take the opacity down so that I can see really well the second variable, but I can have some kind of intuition on the other variable and how it looks like. I can also define some hatching areas. So if I want to select, if I want some kind of mark in the map of what regions have, for example, a value higher than 1.5 millimole per meter cube, I can just define so. And I can choose to remove the layer visualization so that I only have the hatching of the second layer and the data, the plot of the first variable. I can also move it around and change the order of these layers, because order is important in the viewer, and I can put one layer on top of the other or the other way around. So if I'm not sure if I explained this well, but if I move it around, now there is some dominance of this layer on top of this layer, and if I move it, the lines will go over the data visualization from previously. You can also import, if you want to, your own geometries. If you want to see the data in a certain area, in a certain region, you can use different formats, or you can use some built-in geometries for that. So yeah, this is, I guess, the part for the benthic environment. We see that, okay, the areas here that have the hatching have the highest concentration of, this one, highest concentration of particulate organic matter, and then the macrozoobenthos have a really bright yellow along the coastlines. And if we move to a higher point in the food web, and we start looking at higher trophic levels, we can, for example, explore the ensemble prediction of species biomass that was also mentioned in the session today. As you can see, I changed the color map because I think this one's, it's more clear for visualization of this particular data set. We added the different species of fish or other animals as a dimension of the data set, so you can change very easily from one species to another. If you click on the map and change the dimension, you will see that the graph changes automatically, which is also really useful if you want to compare. You can as well download this data, export it in different formats for your analysis, and yeah, you can just play around with it. Another data set that might be interesting to look at, because we have seen different points in the food web, and if there is any regions that can have higher biological importance. But we can also take a look at the human pressures and the different pollutants and stresses that we introduce to the sea. So if we take a look at the mercury in seawater, yeah, maybe we don't see any bright yellow, but if we go down in depth, we can see that maybe taking a look at the different depths in an easy way is something really important if we want to draw some conclusions. We can also take a look at the oil. This is a much more inhomogeneous distribution. The microplastics, if we go to the surface, don't look very good. So yeah, I guess this is something to take into account when we define marine protected areas. But as you can see, you can play around with different layers. You can also combine different layers from different products and that have different meanings, and then you can get a lot more insight in what you are studying. Another data set that we wanted to show in this demo is a bit different because it's a data set about its satellite images, and we are just looking at the reflectance of a certain part. I will change my base map to the option number 4, because then we can see clearly that this is effectively an image from a satellite. So if I zoom out and then I zoom in so that you can gain some perspective, we can see that this data really shows that this is an image of the coast, and it overlaps perfectly with our map. We added the wavelength of this reflected wave as a dimension so that you can also browse really easily and see the changes very fast. And yeah, you can just play around with it and see what kind of visualization is better for you. In this particular case of satellite images, since it's satellite images, we see that for different dates, the image moves. So for example, if I go here, we don't have the same latitude and longitude because effectively it moves because it's an image. So we have the different scenes of what is going on in this orbit. And something that you might want to do is to generate a video of this change in the data. So you can define a start date and an end date, define certain steps, and then the viewer will generate a video of the trajectory of this satellite. You can do this with any data set that you want. You can also download an image if you wanted to use it for your paper or publication. And yeah, you can share also the map. And yeah, I hope you can play with it, and I hope it fits your needs. I think I went a bit fast, but this is mostly